care about that teacher. They conspired, my next door neighbor teacher, who was a friend of mine named Rose. Rose conspired with them. They pooled their money. I love my work. I love what I do, but I don't want it to be kind of what happened to my dad, where it was his identity. He lived to work. And I wanted to flip that script, and so did my wife.
This is another narrative moment. This is the Soul Narrative. Known as Soul Narrative started out as a sneaker podcast in our ancient days, which was just 2 years ago. But now we have this series called Narrative Moments. Narrative Moments is basically our interview where we talk not just to prominent people, but we talk to any and everybody. No matter what you do, no matter what you got going on, we talk to you. We want to hear your story. And man, today I'm with one of, in my eyes, in my opinion, a legendary educator. Regardless of what you want to say, he may not think so, but I consider him a legendary educator. As my wife being an educator, being a sped teacher for so many years, this is a guy that I look at that knows the do's and don'ts of educating. This is a guy that I know that's a family man. This is a guy that's ultimately traveling the country pretty soon to kind of give you a feel and look into his life and dealing with his lens and what he's doing in the next chapter of his life. From being a sneakerhead, an educator, a family man, I mean, the list goes on, man. I have the legendary James, what is it, Alidor?
It is Alidor, yeah.
I got it right. People get my name wrong. James Alidor. It used to be a different name on Instagram, I think.
I did. I had a really long Instagram name when I was getting into it initially, and then I decided to shorten it up so it's easier for moments kind of like this. The Instagram name now is It's Jalidor. And Jalidor was my email address at my last site, and I had a really cool next door neighbor teacher that whenever she would see, that's what she would just straight up call me. And so the students that she had that transversed into my class at one point, that just kind of became a thing. So it was kind of cool. So it just became a thing. So when I decided to switch up the name. So, but man, with an intro like that, man, I got to follow up an intro like that. I appreciate it. That's so cool.
No problem, man. You're somebody that I was paying attention to. Like whenever I was as my wife was having questions as far as what she was doing as far as being an educator, your page was easier for me to kind of say, okay, this is somebody that I can relate to, not just as an educator, but somebody that's dealing with sneakers. By me being very close with AD Sneaks, which is my brother, I consider James one of my brothers too, because he is also somebody that that's on my side of town. James is in Houston, we're in Dallas. And this is just somebody that I look towards from here on out, advice on certain things, because I know that he knows, and he just gave my daughter game on music, because he was a musician. LSU, man, musician. So we just gonna get right into it. The legendary James Alidor, give us a breakdown on you starting from the beginning. Like how all of this happened, from you starting out to want to be a teacher and an educator to just the whole foundation of how James really got started.
Oh man, so I'm born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, and the way out, like what you were talking about with your daughter, the way out for me was music. The way out for me was finding a way to translate music into money for scholarships. I wasn't a bad student, I wasn't top of my class, but I had a good enough scholarship to kind of get going, and music shifted it in that way. And the most interesting thing about the move, LSU called and was interested in me as far as academics, and then I got my opportunity to be in the band, and it kind of took off from there. But I didn't start out as a teaching major. I didn't start out as an education major. So shout out to the pre-vet program at LSU. I wanted to be a veterinarian.
No.
That's why I ultimately chose LSU. Yeah. That was the original plan. Was LSU had this really cool, it was called 3+1. If you did your undergrad in 3, then your 4th year in undergrad, you traversed into vet school. So you technically got your undergrad finished and you started your doctorate degree at that point. So I was really interested at that point in wanting to be a veterinarian. But there's something about chemistry class. There's something about you need science clearly to be a vet.
Science is always there because my wife always like, why you need science? Why you need biology? Why you need to know geometry? You know, and dealing with math just to be, you know, just in the world in general. Like, why do you need that? So they kind of make sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was kind of what stopped it. Actually, is I kind of flubbed a couple classes. I kind of didn't quite hit my spot with my science classes, and so after freshman year, I was like, what is it that you do really well? And I actually had like a really big problem because if I didn't keep a certain GPA, I was going home. And you know, the band still loved me, everybody was great there, but if I didn't keep certain grades, I was going to go home. And so I locked in and I switched to English. So when I got into the English degree, they then go, okay, well, English degree is a major unto itself, but you have to pick something else also.
Right.
You have to have a double major with this. So you can pick literature, you can go pre-law, you can, and they started naming them all. And honestly, I kind of waited to pick, and I had a really good professor. Shout out to Dr. Weinstein, because she was the one, I took one of her classes, and she pushed me. She was like, I really think that this would work for you. I think you can do this. And I was like, okay, fine. So I put aside, kind of a sidebar wanting to write the great American novel, and jumped in to the ed track, and I've been there ever since. So, yeah, Dr. Weinstein was the one that kind of pushed me in that direction. But after that, I graduated. I stayed a year in Baton Rouge. I taught at Glen Oaks High School and at St. Michael the Archangel. I did a semester at each. And then when my wife had finished vet school, see, I still get to be a veterinarian by proxy because she's a veterinarian, right?
Yeah.
She met me actually in some of those classes that I was not doing so well. So
she met you in the middle of everything.
She did.
So whatever you didn't get, she got, basically.
Yes, absolutely. She's
right?
she's an elite student. She was great at that. And so so when she finished, so I finished 1 year. I finished my undergrad 1 year before she finished her doctorate, which shows you what kind of student she was. She was great.
Yeah.
She had an opportunity out in Las Vegas, and so we hightailed it out to Vegas, because the thing about teachers is that as tough as the profession is, it is universal. It will take you places. And so we went out to Las Vegas, and I got out there, worked in Clark County School District, which is the biggest district in Nevada. And I cut my teeth for the next 4 years. I taught, I coached. I had never really played football beyond a certain spot, and yet I ended up on a football staff. I ended up on a basketball staff. I ended up on a baseball staff. And my sports growing up were baseball and soccer. Those were the ones I played the most. And so I had to translate a lot of stuff into coaching there while learning, hey, this is how you run a classroom. And, oh, by the way, the first school you're at, you're starting it from the ground up. I had to open a brand new high school.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Sunrise Mountain High School.
Shout out to Sunrise Mountain.
Yeah, because that was where I cut my teeth. Huge, right? School of Hard Knocks. Hey, this lesson bombed. Oh, it went really well. How do you capture it again? Oh, well, it was a lightning in a bottle. It only worked once. You can't keep going back to the well.
Right.
And I had some really good educator friends out there that took me under their wing and taught me the ins and outs. Ricky Moss, Jamie Taylor, George Natz, these are people that really helped me out a ton. Rodney Lee was my department chair, and those guys showed me how to actually run a classroom. Because as great as LSU was for me, you learn theory, you don't learn practicality.
Right.
Until you actually have kids in front of you.
Exactly.
It's crazy. It's crazy easy to understand the theory, but when you're looking up at 35 faces and they need you, all of a sudden you get stage fright. All of a sudden you forget everything you've learned.
I mean, you kind of shut down a little bit. You're like...
Yeah. Oh, and it's crazy because I had a certain upbringing, and one of the ways that really was a challenge is Las Vegas is a very different culture. And so I needed to learn, what is it like on the West Coast? And add to it, we moved out to Las Vegas at the height of the economic recession of 2008, 2009.
Oh, that's right at the height of it. That's right at the beginning.
Yeah. So many of my students were coming from poverty, and I had not experienced that growing up. So there was a bridge to kind of, go through, a gap to bridge as far as an educator. How do you not only teach students, but how do you also meet them socially, and how do you meet them in their lives? And so, man, Las Vegas was huge, but Las Vegas wasn't forever. I finished up my time there in 2013, and then we moved to Houston, and I have been here ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So what was that like, that whole transition as far as moving from Vegas to Houston, and then, uprooting and actually, changing your mindset? Like what happened during that process?
Man, so we're both born and raised in the South. Like I said, I'm born and raised in Mobile. She's from Louisiana. Okay. And so for us, this was kind of like coming home because we both have grown up in the South. Okay. And, my accent maybe doesn't come out too terribly deep here, but I had a massive Southern accent. And so I not get picked on, but people knew, okay, he's not from Vegas. It took you maybe like 20 or 30 seconds to figure out I'm not from there. And so coming home to Houston, while Houston's not my hometown, like where I was born and raised, it still felt very much culturally like home. And I found out that a lot of my friends from LSU live in Houston. Okay. Houston is just LSU to the west. So many people. It is, really. It's crazy. The first couple weeks, going through Facebook back before it just became kind of like something you pass through. So many of my friends are like, oh, they live out on Westheimer. Or, oh, they live out in Katy. Like, okay, this isn't that far. I actually can meet up with people. And so it was an easy transition, honestly. So, but yeah, we built a house. We built a life here. And I fell into public school teaching here and almost immediately fell in love with where I was at. Shout out to Lamar Consolidated ISD and George Ranch High School, because they found me. I moved here at a really odd time. It is very hard when you move in November to get a teaching gig because the school year's already started. Right. And so George Ranch High School brought me on as a long-term sub in January. And so I had basically 6 months to show, okay, what can you do? It was like an extended interview. Yeah. And that's really what it was. It really was. And so they kept me on afterwards. I became a soccer coach there. And for 4 years, I was at that school teaching AP. That was my big shot to jump into teaching advanced placement classes. Oh. And so it was kind of cool to be able to take the lessons I had learned in Las Vegas and move from working in an economically disadvantaged area to now you're working with students who are advanced. Can you meet their needs? And that actually was a massive challenge, because when you have students in a room that are incredibly gifted and incredibly smart, they're gonna push you in a different way, because in the classroom, credibility is probably the biggest asset you have. Right. And it's not just credibility with a student. Like authenticity in relationship goes a really long way. It's one of the things everybody tells you that you should have first. But you also need to show that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, man. As long as you can show what you're doing and show it well, then they say, well, we can't really challenge this guy like this. We need to put him in a different spot where we need him to actually work harder, even though you're excelling. Yeah. It's almost like moving the needle, so to speak.
So yeah, and in an AP class, the goal is passing that AP test and getting the college credit. Right. And for them, those students were concerned of, can you get me over the line? Like, are you actually good enough to teach me? Add to it that coaches oftentimes are not the best teachers in the high school. That's the stigma. It is, yeah. And so I was fighting it on two fronts, where, hey, this is the new AP teacher. He's also a coach. And I was new to that community. And it was kind of, George Ranch was a very insular community at the time. Oh, wow. And so I really cut my teeth out there about how do you work with a population that's going to push you in that way. Right. And so I went from there, and I like to think of teaching kind of like coaching, in the sense that you're building up skills, right? Like if I'm running a football drill for receivers, which was my specialty, you've got to work on not just the setup for the route, like pre-snap. You also have to set up about alignment. Then you have to set up how do you push off right. And so all of those little skills get worked on in a drill, and people don't realize it. And so I kind of early on in my time at George Ranch, I realized, well, my students have a lot of skills, but there's certain things like their setup that's not right, or maybe their test takers. So I'm really working on how to fix those things as we go. And so that kind of transitioned it really well. But I thought about it at one point, had a scenario where I had an opportunity within the same school district to go to a school that was opening brand new, and I got to start an AP program from ground up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Fulshire High School opened up, and now where we lived was not far from Fulshire High. So it was a little bit of a selfish move in the sense that I didn't have to drive as far. I could wake up a little bit later.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.
And not have to pay the tollway to go. I could go back roads.
That's
it was
perfect.
nice. That was perfect.
My wife is doing the same thing now. She went from one district to the next and can drive like 3 minutes up the road. And I was like, well, you know, it's a little bit of a pay decrease, just a little bit, but it's always worth it to have that peace of mind.
For sure.
Like, you need that peace of mind. So no extra driving, no traffic, no tollways, no gas money being spent.
Yeah.
It's huge. And then it's something that you built from the ground up to be able to get things moving along to kind of set a standard for that particular school. So that's huge.
Yeah. I think of it like, again, an assistant coach getting a head coach call. And so it was a chance for me to, like you said, it's closer to home. I was leaving a little bit of comfort because you can be an assistant coach and have a lot of success. You see it in the NFL all the time, right?
All the time.
Like, how many times has Josh McDaniels bounced around as an OC and he's got Super Bowl rings?
Right.
But he, you know, when he has the chance to take a head coach job. So I had that opportunity, and I got to start the AP program for seniors, the AP literature class.
Oh, that's dope.
At Fulshire. It was really cool and a different type of experience, challenged me in a different way because I had taken on a program at George Ranch. I had been ingratiated into a team. Here it was me. It was just me. So if I built something and it failed, it's a public scenario. And then COVID hits.
Oh yeah, the infamous COVID.
Yeah,
touches down on everything.
It does.
You either live, adjust, and get through it, or you live, crash, and you fail through it. One of the two. So
man, and education, we all went kicking and screaming.
Right.
I will say there's very few places that actually handled it. How do I put consistently?
Yeah.
So it was just all over, and so I'm talking to friends in other districts, and we went through the hybrid model and then the online model, and it was exhausting. But eventually, I got a call. I'm on LinkedIn, and what was really weird is I hadn't updated my LinkedIn in so long. Like, you were asking, how did I get to this point today? I got a call on my email on my LinkedIn, and normally I'd delete LinkedIn messages. A lot of spam.
Yep.
You know, oh, so and so viewed your profile. Okay, cool. Like, but this email was from an HR at a private school here in Houston, and it read like a personal email instead of like the LinkedIn spam. And so I read through it and was like, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to kind of jump into the parochial school area, because I was in a spot where like things were fine at my Fulshire High site, but it was a chance to do something different. And I kind of felt at that time there's two things pulling at me, right? There's two things here. God has taken me to a parochial school potentially, if this is my choice, and that's one pathway. The other pathway would be to stay where I'm at, where I'm kind of comfortable, don't take a risk. And I talked to my wife about it a lot, and I was like, I don't believe in coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. There is a reason that this email hit.
Yeah.
And there's
out of the blue, you, like, what?
It was.
What?
And it was legit out of the blue. I was on my conference period and was checking my email, and it popped through. And that's what really threw me off is, okay, rarely does an email from LinkedIn look like this. Normally it's spam. And so we talked about it. I worked with that HR person to get that navigation. And the most fun part about that is that it took 2 years to get to that school. First year interviews, things worked out. They really wanted me there, but couldn't make it work in terms of staffing and budget. And so we had to halt it. And now I was in a really weird spot because I basically had committed, hey, I'm leaving to my old site, and I'm going to potentially this new place, but the new place was like, put it on hold. And I remember the principal telling me, the principal at this new site, this private school, was like, look, it's not a no, it's just a not right now. And I was like, okay, I think I can live with this. And it took a second. My wife helped me through it because it was actually, I had never been told no.
Yeah.
I had never missed an interview. I had always done really well. I had not had a whole lot of professional, we'll call it a failure, but it took me a chance. It took me another year to get over there. And I just finished my 5th year there. And we'll talk about Spain again in a second, but my 5 years there really, I think, is the place where like I became, as you said earlier, you gave me a great compliment talking about like an elite master type teacher. I think that's the place where I really got to try to become that person.
Right.
I really got to try to be somebody who knows their craft at its best.
Oh, that's good. That's to be able to know your craft and know what you're gifted to do and put here to do. Sometimes a lot of people, they run from it. People don't really embrace it. They kind of run from it and they go try other things and then they want to come back to it. But sometimes it's too late to come back to it. Instead of just saying, hey, well, let me take this risk now and see where it leads me.
For sure.
You're one of those people that say, hey, well, let me just take this risk and let me see where it leads me. So that was, huge, because a lot of people, I was one of those people, growing up to where I was like, well, if I can't see it, if I can't touch it, if it's not tangible, I don't believe it outside of God. But like, I don't think that this is like true. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Sure.
Now I've learned a lot better to be, what's the worst that can happen? And I hate using those words because sometimes the worst always happens sometimes.
It can.
But when you step out there and you was like, well, I can always come back to this in the event that this doesn't go right. Once you get that mindset, then you're good to go after that.
For sure.
So I commend you for that part, because a lot of people, they're afraid to step out in that water. They always think there's a shark out there somewhere. So that's a plus.
It was a massive risk. And because you're leaving the comfort of public school where you have a pension built in, you have kind of a support system. Private school is a different animal. And I will say it's a worthwhile animal to tangle with if you feel that. But it did not come without risk. And I will say that the staff there really guided me in. And now I was dealing with students. So here's where the real challenge went with. So I walked in and I was the AP teacher there for 2 classes. Junior level and senior level. And so they had taken what I had done at George Ranch and what I had done at Fulshire, and they're like, now can you do both? You don't have to coach, but can you come here and can you do both? And so it was kind of cool because I was insular in the sense that I had kids for 2 years. They would only have me in English for 2 years. So I could really put in some work. And what was neat is I got to try new things. Stuff that I had built on my own at George Ranch, and said, well, I don't know that I can execute that here. I don't know that I can run that play. I don't think I have the personnel to run that play, or I don't think I have the confidence to run that play on my end.
Right.
I got to do it, and that was really cool because I got to try things. And when my students were successful, I'm like, oh, now I'm creating new stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't going through the textbook. I was creating stuff on the side to build for those students. And so I think that's the final evolution of a teacher, is when you can create your own sort of content and your own sort of stuff for your students, right? You're not relying on a prepaid curriculum or pre-made one even. I am super grateful to that school. But again, I said nothing happens, without a reason. I do think I was placed there because it's a Christian academy. And I can tell you that God definitely pushed me into that spot, and we were doing very good work there.
Yeah, and for them to give you the ball to be able to do and kind of accomplish what you've accomplished, that's a huge thing, because a lot of times they don't want to step outside of the norm to give somebody a shot that can petition to make things better. And for them to give you a shot to, hey, he's doing something great here. Let us go ahead and give him the ball for him to do what really needs to be done for these students.
Yeah.
So for them to give you the ball, that's a huge thing in my book. So.
For sure. And the public and private school worlds definitely are different.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, especially with vouchers in Texas now, there's a whole lot of bad blood between the two. And while I didn't have that issue at my campus, there's definitely he came from public school to teach here. Does he know our culture? Does he know how to navigate this space? And so there was some level of skepticism, I'm sure, because now you're dealing with students both in the junior and the senior course. But I had students who, in the senior year, they're applying to places like Harvard, MIT, Yale. I had to write letters of rec to go to Yale for students, and I was like, oh man, I started getting imposter syndrome of am I able to write a letter of recommendation for a student who's going to one day work for SpaceX? Because you can kind of see the trajectory of certain students. And this particular student's brilliant. Am I doing him the right service by writing this letter in this way? So, man, the imposter syndrome was huge in year one. but they trusted me, and I got to really try some cool things there. And so that's where, like in my phase now, where I'm no longer teaching, I really want to help people learn how to navigate that space, how to navigate education. Because I think there's never a bad teacher, in my opinion. There's simply a teacher that does not know how to execute their vision. And when they make their vision clear, it can go so many different ways, but it's all positive.
You hit the nail on the head. To me, I don't think there's a bad teacher. I just think sometimes it's implementation a lot of times, like you said, and it's just, they're just trying to find ways to make it better for them to do what they need to do, especially for the kids. Especially when you have the kids at heart. You know, they just need an outlet to be able to do what needs to be done.
For sure. And like what you said, doing right by the kids. At every school, public or private, that's been the first thing that comes up is, how are you going to serve my student? How are you going to serve our campus? And it is it's an alignment thing. And I got to say that if we were talking about how was the transition from Las Vegas to Houston, I think being from the South allowed me to know and understand my students in the South a lot more, because this is more home for me. I know the culture of the South really well. We have the same experiences. It's not to say that I was an ill fit in Vegas, but it was definitely a time to learn that, like, well, not everybody has had your experience. So how are you going to bridge that gap?
Right.
But it did make it easier to come back to Houston and say, okay, everybody here likes gumbo. We're good. Over in Vegas, people are like, what is king cake? What is gumbo? Like, oh no, this is a problem. You had hurt my Louisiana college soul.
I know that you hurt my heart just that quick.
Yeah. What was cool about being out in Vegas is I was an anomaly. My students didn't know about Cajun culture or really about anything from the South, because most of my students were either Vegas born and bred or they were coming from LA. And so that was an interesting thing for me. So, but I think living in the South, again, really made it a little bit easier for me to be able to do some things.
I know you probably got a lot of, where you from? Or you sound like you from here. I know you probably got that a lot.
Tons. It would take a few times of me speaking before people would be like, oh, you have an accent, where are you from? And it's kind of interesting because my accent's all over the place. Like I said, born and raised in Alabama. So I had deep Southern twang growing up. I go to LSU for college. I learned the Cajun culture, and it naturally works off on you. So I got to Vegas, and I was just this hodgepodge of people don't understand what you're saying sometimes.
At all. The second that you say that you're from Alabama and Louisiana, the first thing they go to is food.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. But you know what, though? Have you ever been to an LSU tailgate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know they will feed you.
Yeah.
And the food is the best part.
Yep.
I mean, clearly the game's the best part. Let's not get it twisted.
Yep.
But the food is the culture of it. So I would try and order king cakes from New Orleans and get them shipped out there. Like I tried to show Mardi Gras and the culture of the South and specifically Louisiana to my people out there. So it was interesting. I definitely was an anomaly to a lot of people. But you would hear it come out. Like if I'm yelling on a football field, that accent comes out real thick.
It breathes heavy because we're from Louisiana. So that accent, it comes out, especially when you're frustrated or you pissed off or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Or it triggers like that. You're like, oh, let me get back to my articulation kind of phase where I'm trying to articulate certain things. But it comes out so easy.
Well, and talking about accents, I had a teacher, so my mentor teacher, when I went through student teaching, I was at McKinley High in Baton Rouge. And I guess my accent or I guess my slang was really deep. And shout out to Jan Lenny, because she pulled me aside probably like day 2 or 3 and was like, you have to speak more clearly. You actually need to practice working on being clear in how you talk, because if you don't talk clearly, students are not going to meet you. They're not going to be able to handle it.
Right.
And so it's, to a degree, it's a code switch almost, but I worked really clearly. There's a teacher voice, and everybody knows you have teacher looks and teacher voice.
Right.
And I had to develop a teacher voice.
I see that every day with my wife. She is a teacher look and it's a teacher voice.
Yep.
Turning it on and off. On and off.
I love to be able to give my nephews are immune to it now because they've heard it so much. But for a little bit, you could just cut them a look and they'll quit.
Yeah.
That was the wildest part about being out there. But
man, you being a teacher. So let me ask you this: how did you being a teacher develop your love for sneakers, so to speak?
Ooh,
Like, how did that develop the love? I see the fits every day.
man. So growing up, so I'm 41. I was born in '84. I loved Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson is everybody talks about MJ, but Allen Iverson was kind of like my idol as far as growing up. So his swagger, his I'm gonna do me no matter what, and his shoes really were the first
Questions and answers.
yeah, I'm it's 1997. I'm 13 years old, 14 years old, and I wanted a pair of Question mids, like the red toes, the pearlized blue.
Yeah.
I can remember seeing him cross up MJ and being like, this is the moment. This is my guy.
That's it.
And, so that's where like the love of sneakers started. But as far as teaching, I noticed when I was in Vegas, because I'm on my feet all day as a coach, and we had a dress code, but because I was coaching, they were a lot more lax on the dress code for me. So I could wear tennis shoes during the day. And so at this point, I'm still paying off student loans. So I don't have it like that just yet. And I'm working on finding, okay, well, where can I be comfortable, but also still kind of show out, because my students were showing out. They had fits and they had kicks. And so I was like, okay, I want to play along, but how do I do it without sounding like a tryhard? Because I would still remember feeling out. I'm a first or second year teacher. You can't be, I don't want to say too friendly, but you can't lean too deeply into I'm the friendly teacher before you have some authority, like some credibility. And so I was trying to toe that line. And so I would mix in some KDs. I would mix in some LeBrons at the time, because again, people forget that KDs and LeBrons used to be worn on the streets. Like, they forget that. People like our age know that, but these kids today don't understand that you wore basketball kicks on the streets.
Automatic, casual wear.
Yeah, and so I would try and pop a fit off. The basketball team, when I was assistant coach, we got Jordan uniforms. And I was like, okay. So the head coach was like, what do you want? And showed me the catalog. And I was like, oh, this is a move. And so
there you go.
we were definitely swagged out at Sunrise Mountain for basketball on that. And so I would bring it in here and there, right? If I could find a pair that fit the budget, I would do so. And I would wear them here and there. And kids noticed. But it wasn't a talking point. I moved to Houston. And at this point, I'm buying kicks for me, because my kids noticed, but not like crazy. But when I was at Georgia Ranch, my students started to notice a lot more.
Yeah, they pay attention.
They did. And because I was coaching there as well, again, the dress code was relaxed for me. I was balancing that fine line between wearing coach's gear, which for us was a hoodie, wind pants, and then tennis shoes. And so I would find a way to sneak in my fits and sneak in, some sort of hype pairs. And they started noticing. So the collection started growing. And the collection started growing a little bit more. Now, you said you follow my page. You see my style is loud. And I got some loud colors. A couple pairs that I started bringing out. Kids are like, that's not the move. But that's okay. You're talking about it. Now we have, even if it's a pair you don't like, now we're at least talking about something that matters to you. And so that was kind of when I realized, like, okay, they pay attention, they notice, and I like these kicks. So it's kind of like a melding of two worlds. When I moved to Fulshire, those students were all into it. And so my collection keeps growing. At this point, I've paid off my student loans, so I got a little bit of bread. I have a little bit of money to be able to spend on some sides. So I'm able to start building up. But there was a moment in 2019 that really let me know my students know who I am as far as a teacher. We have a connection with a rapport, but also me as a sneakerhead. So my father passed away in 2019 after a year-long battle with bladder cancer.
Bladder cancer.
It's tough. And so at the time I was teaching an AP class, a couple sections of that AP class, and I had some on level English 3. And so I had two different sets of kids with two different goals. And so I went home, before my dad passed, I went home on hospice to go and take care of him. So I went back to Mobile. And I didn't tell my students because I didn't want them to worry. I did not want them to lose sight of their goals because I was still going to be creating lessons digitally and putting stuff in. We were using Canvas as the LMS, the learning management. I was still working with them. So I did not want them to be upset or concerned. So I didn't tell them. I didn't tell any of my students. I had told the teachers, and I had told the teachers, hey, keep it on the DL. You can tell them I had to go home, take care of some family business, but nothing beyond that. And so I guess one of my class periods found out, and I guess somehow it worked. Now I had this 7th period class, and 7th period was interesting. It was one of my on-level classes, and it was a class where students were kind of coming in and going out. I'll just cut it like it is. It was my troublemaker class.
Right.
It was a class that was loud. It was very personality, and we got along. But basically, the class period was, hey, we have 50 minutes. We're going to do about 40 minutes of work, hardcore, and if you can give me that, then we can kick back for 10.
Right.
And so we made that kind of concession. And we understood each other, we liked each other, but they would drive me crazy sometimes. So they conspired with my next door neighbor teacher, who was a friend of mine named Rose. Rose conspired with them. They pooled their money and bought me a pair of the Air Max 95 Houstons, like the home. It's the one that's got the purple screws on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this. So as I'm driving into Mobile, Rose is calling me. She's like, hey, just question where were your lesson plans? And, hey, I'm on my conference period. By the way, my nephew's starting up basketball. Like, he's about your build. What size do you wear? What shoes do you? And so she was gleaning information from me.
Yeah.
So that she could get them to buy the right size and everything. Yeah. And so, I come back from hospice and my dad's funeral, and that class presented it to me. And I didn't know what to do. Like,
I bet you broke. Ooh, I bet you broke.
It was yeah.
I bet you broke.
It was wild. Because to be fair, I didn't. You don't expect something like that, first of all. And because that class was unique, and we got along and we had good rapport, but I didn't expect it from that class. Because I would say that class, while we got along, they were not the class I thought that vibed the hardest to me. And so it really was two things. An awesome moment, but it was also like, oh, this is actually how my students see me. And so from there, the collection continued to grow. But of course, I had to wear that pair often. I had to bring that one out all the time.
Yeah. That pair better be in glass right now.
Oh, it is definitely a very carefully worn. It is a carefully worn pair. We only bring them out for special occasions.
That's it.
Yep,
that's it.
I bring them out for June 17th, but that's probably one of the only few times. Or was it June 27th? Sorry, I just lost my credibility there.
Yep.
I bring them out for June 27th and a couple other times for some really special fits. Usually, I start off the school year in some way wearing that pair, even at my last site. So, but the collection grew from there, and you were talking about AD Sneaks earlier. Shout out to Andy's a great dude, and a master in the sneaker space. But around 2020, when he started popping off and his account was big, I noticed that he had a huge collection, and he did his thing where he would wear a different pair of sneakers every day. And so when I got to my new site, I kind of decided, well, I'm going to do the same. I have enough. I can do this. Let's see if I can pull it off. Now, to his credit, he probably has a system. I did not have a system at the time.
You just doing it?
I was just doing it.
Just for the love of it,
I would get up and I'm like, what am I going to wear today? And I would pick a pair out, and then I'd forget that I wore that pair. So I went, school days are about 180 days. I think I made it like 130 before I repeated. And what really told me that they pay attention at this new site was a kid called me out. She goes, no, you've worn that pair.
Oh, so they saw the repeat.
They did.
That's crazy.
And I was like, no, I haven't. They're like, no, you did. You wore it. And then she told me the day. She's like, I remember because we did this in class. And I was like, oh, that's okay.
Recollection is crazy.
It was wild. So they pay attention. And then I was like, okay, so I messed up. I'm going to start again next year. I finished out the year still not repeating. So I only missed one day. But that started the Instagram, because the Instagram became my way of actually keeping track. I would take the photo of the shoe, because at this new site, I only saw students every other day. It was different class, it's a block schedule. And so if I wore a really great pair, I wanted kids to see, and I wanted them to know the story. Because I don't know about your collection. Every piece in my collection has a story.
Yeah, every piece does.
I rarely run the credit card just because I felt like it that day.
No, man, it has to mean something to me, and I'm very selective now. Well, even more selective than I ever been. That's why mine has shrunken a lot.
Yeah.
But it has to tell a story that resonates with me.
For sure.
Every single time I get something.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why that Air Max 95 is so special. Is because that story really kicked it into me starting to be more selective, other than like, oh, that's a really bright pink shoe. Not only will my kids notice it, but I think I can pop off a fit with it. It now turned into, what's the story behind it? So that's pretty much the evolution of me as a sneakerhead and how I am bringing it as a teacher. But now, and I talked about this pretty recently with a friend. I've got students because at my last site, they have dress codes, private school, but the shoes are the place where they're very, very like loose on it. So I would have kids coming up in my room with, Jordan 4s, Sambas, and they're like, look what I got on today. And I'm like, you cool, I love that. You interrupted class, but I love it. Thanks.
Yeah, right.
And so they would seek me out. And so I learned at that point, that's where, to me, education had melded. It started out as, my kids notice, and it's a talking point, but it's also, kids need to see you. Like, they need to see who you are, not just, the professor or the teacher. They need to see who you are. What are your interests?
Yeah.
Because my students at my last site would do work for me no matter what. They're compliant. But they will do work better if they care about that teacher.
Exactly. Like if they got love for you, then they'll start doing things a little bit better. They'll start putting heart and effort into it because of their love for you.
Yes.
For their admiration for you. And by you having that rapport with them, that meant everything to them.
Yeah. And had I known that at the earliest part of my career, that'd have been a little bit of a different story. That's not saying that, 23-year-old Alidor needed to go buy, 300 pair of sneakers. But it is, hey, make connections first. Connection before content. That's the biggest thing.
Exactly.
Connection before content is huge. And early in my career, I would rush into content. That first week of school, I'm doing assignments, I'm doing essays. But now I spend about a week building connection, building rapport. We do assignments, of course, but I'm trying to build a connection about, well, what does Dre like to do? What does Johnny like to do? What is Samantha's favorite thing? And then I have an inroad later to where when they're working on something in a group or they're working individually, I can go over and I can talk to Samantha about what she told me at the beginning of the school year. Like, oh, she's really into Taylor Swift. I might not be, but I'm going to ask questions.
Yeah.
Because she may not understand what a Jordan 4 is, but she'll notice and she'll ask me.
Right.
And then we have a thing. And then Samantha at the end of the year is giving me a lot more effort on her assignments when we all know end of the school year, motivation is low.
Oh, yeah.
Both teachers and students,
right?
Oh, yeah.
Motivation is to the floor because everybody's ready to leave.
Absolutely. You see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Most definitely. So you've, like that's one of the main things. That's why my wife has such a passion for students because she develops that relationship with them first. Because developing that relationship allows them to do things with like heart and feeling and say, hey, well, I don't want to let Mr. Alidor down, or I don't want to let Miss Thomas down. I don't, and you saw that firsthand, like when they gave you those 95s. They were paying attention, even though it may seem like they were not paying attention. They were showing an admiration for you.
And it is wild that I still to this day am thrown for a loop that was the moment. And you're right, they will give you more when they're trying to impress. And this year's class, so this my recent junior class at my last site, when I made the announcement to them, because I waited a couple months before we kind of had some things in place, I made my announcement to them that I wouldn't be coming back to campus, that I was leaving. And there was a little bit of silence, a little bit of hush. I think we had about 4 weeks before the AP test, and I told them I'm moving. The room was dead silent, and they're like, "Okay, where to? Are you leaving to go to another site? What's the story?" And when I told them that I'm moving to Spain, everything shifted. This class had started to be a little bit tired toward the end of the year, and we were kind of going through the motions together. But once I dropped that knowledge, all of a sudden it was what you just said. They want to do right. They wanted to do right. And so this group that I just recently finished with, we got our AP numbers, our AP test scores back recently. They killed it. They went 100% pass rate, killed everything. Like, it was an amazing year. And I credit them wanting to do right by somebody leaving. They locked in. And I think it was that rapport. So this is one of those things where when you have an audience and an instructor aligned, things can change. Like, it can be a huge asset. Yeah,
it can be a huge asset. It's just like with a comedian. When a comedian actually deals with like certain people that they're close to or whatever, people know them and start to see how they are offset.
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's the same way with your students. Like when they have a deeper passion for you, they want to do right by you.
For sure.
Even though they know that you're leaving, they want to do right and show you that they can send you off in a much better fashion. So that's huge.
And what had happened kind of was I was pressuring myself to do right by them since I'm leaving them.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know that I was leaving yet, and so I was pushing hard. They finally hearing and learning the knowledge allowed them to also push together. So we were kind of pushing in different directions until they learned.
Yeah.
And so I think that was huge. They really came through, and you know, I think the legacy that I would like to leave at that campus is that I did always right by the students. We tried to do the good stuff, and we were solid on it.
And you left a legacy there.
Yeah.
One that you can take to Spain with you.
Indeed. That's the wild part is man, taking what I have learned and moving to Spain it's uncharted territory because we haven't moved yet. We're actually, I don't know if you knew this, we're moving sight unseen. We have seen our apartment, we've leased it, right? But we have not been to Spain as a country ever. We are moving sight unseen. And so kind of like my move to that private school most recently, we're doing things, we're making a jump. We're trusting that we're doing the right things. We're trusting that what we've done will pay off.
It will.
And we'll do the right things. But also that we've left the right kind of legacy, if that makes any sense.
It does. It makes 1,000% sense to me. So in this move, like, how the transition of getting those sneakers to Spain is going to work?
Oh man. So I say allowed. We have packed, each of us gets 3 suitcases, and then you get your carry-on and your personal item, right, when you fly. And so for us, I figured out, like, mathematically, I can fit about 15 pairs for daily rotation. Now, the challenge is going to be figuring out which 15, and I've narrowed it down pretty well. I keep going back and forth on some pairs, but the rest have gone into storage. The rest I wrapped and have put into storage totes. I think I can get about 12 pairs per tote, and we are storing them locally here. And so I think my collection is somewhere around 310-ish. And so you're talking, there's around 300 pairs of sneakers somewhere around up in a storage facility.
Yeah. So are you going to transition them all down there, or are you just going to leave here? I mean, leave some here and take some with you? Like, how is that going to work?
So I like I said, I'm bringing 15 with, and we're going to come back and visit here and there. And where we're going to live in Spain, Pontevedra, like the northwest corner. Think Seattle. Very rainy. It's going to be hard on kicks. So one of the things I love to do, when I say I love to do, one of the requirements of me being a sneakerhead from my wife is that I have to wear my pairs.
You got to wear them. They cannot sit in boxes.
No.
They cannot sit in boxes. You have to put them on.
No, we are not a shoe museum was her exact quote. And so, so I'm bringing 15 to burn through them. And so the intent is when we come back, if there's still some life left in them, then I'll trade them out. And so I'll bring maybe 10 more, 15 more.
Okay.
So that's the goal, is to burn through them. So I'm not really bringing in new pairs at this point. Here and there, it's mostly about functionality because, like I said, we're going to be living in basically the Seattle of Spain. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be wet. And so, you know, certain pairs are not going to survive. They'll die out quicker than others.
Right.
And so I've had to figure out what 15 are going to last me the fullest, what are going to be comfortable to wear all day, because we're going on adventures.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be on our feet all day, and we're going to be going to other countries too. So, you know, what works in France when we're in Paris is going to be different from what I wear when I'm home in Spain because it's rainy in Pontevedra, but it may not be rainy in Paris.
Right.
I got to find something that's going to survive me both climates. And so that has actually been really hard to do, to narrow it down.
What have you made it through the list yet? Or are you just going little by little? I mean, is there a certain sneaker brand that you think that actually fits that particular, you know, transition from going from one place to the next yet?
So for me, I'm a big Adidas guy. I played soccer growing up. Adidas to me is soccer culture. And while I have way more Jordans in my collection, Adidas has come back in my rotation a lot more because they've given football silhouettes love. And also their Gore-Tex line, which is what I'm going to be really leaning on, has been real heavy. So I would say the majority of what's coming to Spain has been Adidas. But I have a couple pairs of retro Jordans that, you know, you have to let the Spanish know that you still got it.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, right? I have a pair of Bapes that I'm going to bring because I love Japanese streetwear and I love that side of it too. But yeah, it's mostly going to be a lot of Adidas stuff. I tried really hard for Asics and Saucony. I have a bunch of pairs of Asics. Really I don't want to say trend hops, but I jumped on the Asics train because, again, I'm on my feet all day. And so if I can rotate some pairs in that are nice, plus 20,000 steps type stuff, Asics would have made the run. But it's mostly going to be Adidas and a lot of Gore-Tex.
Yeah, because Adidas has a high survivability, and Gore-Tex even more will last you as well. Gore-Tex is built for travel, it's built for weather, it's built for climate, it's built for certain things because of the fabric in it. And a lot of times that's why it costs so much.
Yeah.
Outside of the Ben brand, but yeah, the Gore-Tex and the Adidas line is probably what's going to last you the most.
And I find them to be more affordable, right?
Yeah, very.
Solomon is excellent, but every Adidas Gore-Tex pair I have bought is around the 150 to 160 range. Every Solomon Gore-Tex starts at 210.
Yes.
So you're looking at, that's a $50, $60 difference for me. I would like more. I would like quantity in that case if they're both equal, right? If the quality's the same, I would rather have more. So that's what's been filling up my collection lately the most. And so, but how I got to that, so when we decided to sell our house, I was going through my sneaker room because I had an entire content creation room. Most of my sneakers were up there. I did have 2 different rooms full of sneakers. So 13,
I know.
300 pair.
I know. She's looking at you like, when are you going to give us this room for something else other than your shoe wall? And you're like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
My nephews love going up into that sneaker room because it's kind of like a museum, even though they get worn, because they could literally like touch and grab and everything. It was a fun time. But what I did when we were moving is I started putting everything into a list, a spreadsheet. What do I have? Because I didn't know what I was going to try and sell. I didn't know what I would try and give away. I had no idea. One of my nephews is my shoe size. And so, and one of my nieces plays ball. She plays AAU ball. And so I had decided I'm going to go through some of my like performance pairs and give them to her to play in. I'm going to try and give some pairs to my nephew, thin out the collection, but also like I need to compile everything. And so as I was doing that, I realized you can also plug stuff into ChatGPT or Gemini. And so I plugged in Pontevedra's weather. I plugged in our coordinates, and I was like, here's every shoe I own in a spreadsheet. Rank it. Tell me why. And it took maybe 2 or 3 iterations, but it ranked my shoes 1 to 300. What would best hold up and what would not. And then I asked it, okay, if I want to add shoes to this collection, like if let's say I don't have 15 that'll hold up, right? What should I look for? And that's where Gore-Tex came in, because I did not own a Gore-Tex pair of shoes up until probably like maybe 3-4 months ago.
ChatGPT is good and it's creepy at the same time.
Yes.
So I always tell people, like, if you use ChatGPT for something, use it to enhance what you're already doing. Don't let it take over your life.
Oh, for sure. To bring it back to the ed side for just one second, to the education side, my students use chat, and we had a proprietary AI at our school. We were using a company called Flint, and Flint is an enclosed AI where I can create assignments inside of Flint, and students will be walked through it with this AI. And what I taught them is you have to do the work first. We wrote our papers first, and then we would plug it into Flint. And I would program the assignment for Flint to give them positives, critiques, feedbacks, in addition to what I already feedbacked. And then it would I would ask it to make them revise it. And it could only make them move on paragraph by paragraph. And so it really would work. But what we ran into is just what you're saying. If you can't do the skill to begin with, you're going to really struggle with AI. It's a tool to move you forward.
It's not a tool to take over your life.
No. And I will say that this was AI has shifted so much, and just in like the last 6 months, much less last few years. So if I was to re-rank my sneakers, if I was to plug my whole collection in again, I bet you it would give me a different rank and different criteria and different rules. And that'd be a fun exercise to do, actually. Because I bet you would be a different 15.
Yeah.
But I've narrowed it down basically to, I'd say I have about 20. Because there were some that I really highlighted I wanted to bring because maybe they were newer and I didn't get my right wears out of them. And I felt bad about putting them in storage because I just had bought them before we really sold the house. And so I saved about 6 or 7 pairs of shoes to wear during summer. And I have kind of put the ones I'm bringing to Spain on ice. So that way I don't put miles on them yet. and I can burn through those 6 or 7 before we move.
Okay.
So
okay.
and some of those 6 or 7 might make it. Like I love the Air Force One linen.
Mm-hmm.
It's a top tier shoe for me. It is in my it's not coming immediately list, so I've been wearing it a lot this summer. But every time I wear it, it inches closer to that 15.
Yeah, I know. And you got to be careful because then like your love for a girl, you're like, you know what? I'm breaking this shoe in. I really kind of like how it feels and stuff like that or whatever. But then when you get over there and the weather starts to eat at it, you're like,
Yeah.
I hate I even brought them out.
And the more that I look at what clothes I've kept, because I had to pack up wardrobe. We're currently living at my in-laws, and we have one room, and so I had to bring my wardrobe basically down to everything I'm bringing to Spain. And so as I had brought my wardrobe down, part of it's like, oh no, the linens match more than I thought. Oh, this is actually a thing. So that's been the challenge with the collection. It may make it over there all at one time at one point, but this is the beauty of the Spain trip. We don't know what the future holds.
Yeah. And you're basically starting fresh.
Yes,
So that's the main thing, is to be able to start over is a blessing in itself.
for sure.
You know, because a lot of people don't get that opportunity to be able to start over. And when you start over, like you kind of look at it as, you know, that question that somebody gives you, like if you had to do it all over again, what would you do? Or whatever it is, you had that opportunity to do it all over again, to actually do what you need to do, what you want to do this time.
For sure.
So that's the beauty of it, man. So that's a big salute to that. So,
Yeah.
So, man, the 15 pairs and rotating out every time you burn through them, that's a system.
Yeah.
I can get jiggy with that.
And being a teacher, you got to have a classroom management system. So for me, when I was able to break it down and be like, okay, if a shoe is going to make it into my 15, it has to meet these criteria. That was easy for me.
Oh, good deal.
That was easy for me. Now the challenge is, I really like certain pairs,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, I hate to put that one on ice for a whole year. I hate to put it on ice for a whole year. So that is the big challenge.
And how those challenges, you're like, I don't know. So let me try to figure it out as I go along. But it'll come along. It'll come along a lot quicker than you think it would.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Spain trip. Like what's your overall feel for it? Like what is your process as far as how you're going to be maneuvering through Spain? And you kept mentioning a year. Let's talk about that.
For sure. So my wife and I decided a few years ago that we wanted to live overseas. And I know I'm giving you a little bit of history. I'll come to the question and get to the answer.
Do your thing, bro. Do your thing.
But the thing was that we decided we wanted to live overseas and try something different, but we didn't know what that looked like at the time. And so we love to travel every summer. We use my summertime and her PTO to be able to take trips. And we love to travel overseas and just visit different cultures. And so at one point, our vacation stopped being about vacation, but it became vacation and a scouting trip. Because we were like, if we're serious, let's actually start thinking about this. Because it's one thing to go to Croatia and sit on the beach and vibe and enjoy your 10 days. It's a whole nother one to go see some of the sites that are not touristy and to get off the beaten path. So we slowly were picking places that we could not only enjoy, but also could see ourselves eventually living if the visa situation works out. Then that led to us looking into visa requirements and so forth. And we settled on Spain because we love Portugal. And I know this is a weird way to get to it, but Portugal and Spain have very similar cultures in a lot of ways. And we settled on Spain because the opportunity to get a visa fit what we were looking for. And we want to eventually be permanent residents. And the timeline for that fit what we wanted to do. And so once we realized, like over the course of the few years that we were looking to live overseas, starting to do the research, put it together, then that turned into the whole, how could this work? And so we've settled on the fact that we want to be in Spain full time. This is a move that is for good. But the idea is that after 5 years, if we retain living in Spain, we would become permanent residents. And from there, the world is our oyster. We have EU residency and we can go a lot of places. And for us, it's an opportunity, as you said, to do the things we want to do. Part of what made us realize we want to try new things and to do this, because this is a big jump. It's a jump into the ether, man. There's a whole lot of uncertainty. Is my father's passing, but also us kind of falling not out of love, but to a degree realizing that there is a timeline for working. My father passed away at 62, and he had talked about having all this time to go to the beach and retire to the beach. Mobile is close to Gulf Shores, and he wanted to retire to Gulf Shores. And he never got that opportunity. And so I internalized from that spot where I love my work, I love what I do, but I don't want it to be kind of what happened to my dad, where it was his identity. He lived to work. And I wanted to flip that script, and so did my wife. And so when we made the decision to work to live, that's when, okay, well, we want to live overseas. Let's make this work. And so Spain is the goal. We want to be able to travel. We want to be able to experience new cultures. Some of that is, sneakers and fits abroad, but a lot of it is going to be us experiencing new sites, places that we've never been, and just the cultural spots outside of the tourist area. Like I mentioned Paris earlier, we'll go to Paris, but I also want to see the wine country in France where, it's a small village that like 100 people travel to a year. I want to be able to find stuff like that.
You want to be able to see those diamonds in the rough. You want to be able to experience things that otherwise people are afraid to actually see. Now you get that opportunity.
For sure.
To do so. So I can see that.
Yeah, and for us, like I said, Spain represents kind of a shift from living to work, just a flip. It's an opportunity for us to kind of unplug a little bit and utilize work as a way to fund that and to fund what we would like to do. And so that's really the short story. I know that wasn't short, but like that's the short version of it. We're both just incredibly excited to travel and see what we can do, and we're going to be documenting our journey and creating content still. But part of that is not influencer based. It's mostly like, this is what we're doing. We're trying to also show people, like I did in the classroom, that you can be a person and still have experiences. And I think the way that we're doing it is a non-traditional route for people, right? Like there are travel influencers for sure. There are travel people that's what they do for a living. And that's not what we're wanting to do here. We're wanting to experience new cultures, new places organically. And we'll document it, and we'll have, followers that look at it and see it and enjoy it too. I know most of my students that did not follow me throughout the school year on my social media, all of a sudden are like, oh, you're going to make this part travel? I'm following it. So they want to see it too. And I think especially in today's economic climate, I taught AP classes. Kids are going to go to college, but I want them to understand that there's more to life than just going to work. You are you're more than your productivity. You're more than just showing up to work. And when you realize that, it opens up you as a person so much more.
Exactly. Well spoken. Well needed, because sometimes like we don't get that opportunity to understand that. And people just live in the rat race and just keep going in their circle. And not knowing what else is out there for them. They just keep going, and then they look down at the teenager and they look up and they're 60 something years old and realize, what the heck have I been doing my whole life other than working and not experiencing life and knowing how to be productive in society. So
we didn't want to look up at 60 and realize we can't travel.
Yeah.
Because I'm not physically able.
Right.
I didn't want that to be a thing. I would rather, and to your point about you said this earlier, there's always a we can come back. If this doesn't work out, then I will at least get to say, hey man, I took a risk and it was super fun to do it at that time, and it might not have worked out, but I did it. And I have a whole bunch of list of memories that I can talk about and I can do. To us, there's certainly big risk, but that risk is, to me, lesser than just staying complacent. Because there's an alternate world where I still stay at my campus and I spend the next 25 years till Social Security kicks in. And I get my 10-day vacation in summer, and we can visit some places, but you never actually see those things in reality. So I think that world is a world we both looked at and said, yeah, I don't want that world. I want something different. And if it doesn't work out, we can at least say we tried.
You can't fit it in 10 days.
No.
You really can't fit it in 10 days.
Let me tell you what, though, she tries. One of our first vacations, we did Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. And it's a triangle, which geographically works, but I don't think we have ever moved so much on a 10-day trip.
Yeah. You can't experience it out in 10 days. Not even a full month. Sometimes it takes a full year because like it's just like a movie that you watch over and over and over again. Each time that you come somewhere or do something, you see something different in the movie that you never saw before, and you're like, I didn't see that last time.
Mm-hmm.
Or I didn't really notice that last time, or we never tried this or did this in this village before last time.
Mm-hmm.
Let us do it this time. So you really can't fit it all into like a whole year.
Mm-hmm. And we're hoping that 5 years that we spend before we get permanent residency, we will see a ton of new experiences, and just opening up doors, and hopefully, a little bit selfishly on this end, I'm still hoping that in the same way that a lot of teachers will push their students to certain schools based on maybe an offhanded comment, right? Like, I'm an LSU grad, I will always pump up LSU, right? I'll pump up UT, Texas A&M, but there's occasionally I'll mention a campus, and I've had students that like, well, I felt I liked that campus and it sparked my interest when you talked about it. I'm kind of hoping that students that I've had in the past or people who are on the internet see this and go, hey, that actually is an idea. I don't have to jump into the rat race. I can mix and match kind of work and a life lived well. That's what I would really hope comes out of it.
You are getting ready to do a lot, but to me, it's worth it. To me, I think it's love and passion, and not really so much as work. It's just something that you get. It's a new chapter that you get to experience new things that people only dream about doing.
No doubt.
And like I said, like you can't fit it all in 10 days. I mean, like you can't really fit it all in a year, really. So you guys 5 years. So 5 years until they say you can't come back. No, just mystery. But it's the beauty of it. Like what advice could you give people that are trying to do what you have done and what you're getting ready to do?
Man, if I was to advise people on what to do to kind of put this in motion is certainly work your job and live that, because it's a tool to get you where you need to go. But the mind shift of you only really get these opportunities here and there, and when you get them, this whole time we've talked about my move to Fulshire High, my move to, my parochial school here. All of those moves came with risk, but they were opportunities presented, and you need to recognize risk. That would be what I tell people, is recognize that there is risk and that you can do it. You just may have to set some things aside for a moment to make it work. It's like chess to me. We started this process 5 years ago-ish, and had we gotten to this point and it didn't work, okay, well then we can try something new, but we've made some moves that mattered, right? The advice I would give people is recognize two things. Recognize risk, but also realize that your job and your work is meant to be a strategic opportunity for you to live your life the way you want to live. It's not you working for somebody, it's you working to be able to build the life you want. And I think too often that gets misconstrued for students and for people. I read a lot about people who enter education as a second career, and a lot of their stories are, well, I woke up and realized I didn't like what I was doing. And I think that speaks to the misalignment of, well, I don't know that you valued what you were doing as a means to an end. Because to me, I have loved my students, I have loved my work, but I have also recognized that every new year is a new opportunity, and that money and that finance is allowing me to live the life I want with my wife and with my family. So those are the two biggest pieces. Recognize risk and realize what work is and what it's supposed to be.
Right. If you can look back on, let's go back in time for a second.
Okay.
Before I let you go, if you can go back and tell your 15, 16-year-old self anything, or show them anything, what would you have done?
Oh, buddy.
What would you do? Let me rephrase that.
If I could go back and see my 15 or 16-year-old self, my 15 or 16-year-old self was very academically focused, but not on anything other than college. I had visualized that college was, you've made it. So I would go and tell 15 or 16-year-old me that no, college is not the end goal. You still actually have to work. And maybe that way you won't nearly fail Bio 1, right? And then maybe you become the veterinarian that you want to be. But I think 15 or 16-year-old me also needs to understand that your time is limited. and the experiences that you're not going to have a tomorrow to put that thing off.
Right.
I would tell my 15 or 16-year-old self, value your time with your dad, value your time with your family. I would tell them to think about it in terms of live in the now. Because 15 or 16-year-old me was very future focused. I'll get to college and I'll take care of this. I'll get into the working world and I'll take care of this. I don't think 15 or 16-year-old me was ready for how fast life came at him.
Yeah.
And I know that, 30-year-old me was not ready for how fast life came at me. I'm 41 now, but I am ready now for what it can bring me.
Right. Oh, that's crazy. And now they're getting ready to work on I think they're getting ready to do karaoke. That's crazy. This is part, hey, I'm not cutting this out, but they're getting ready to work on karaoke.
I love it.
Hey, I'm not cutting it out at all. I'm not.
I love it.
I'm not.
That is phenomenal.
But during the midst of them working karaoke and us doing our thing, any sneakerhead advice?
Oh, man. So build your collection intentionally. I think there's 3 phases of a sneakerhead. Oh my God, I love that pair is the first phase, and you buy what you love. Then there's I had no opportunity as a child to get that shoe. There's plenty of pairs in my collection. I do have the red toes, by the way. We talked about when those came back in a retro form, immediately ran the card.
Yeah.
Probably should have doubled up because they've seen some time.
Yeah.
But so you have the I love that shoe phase. Then you have the I'm buying what I love from my childhood. Then you have selectivity and comfort. I would say if that third phase comes first, you will have a quality collection and you won't move through sneakers as deeply. Wear what you love, buy what you love, but also be selective enough to recognize that it's got to have a purpose. Just buying a pink pair to have a pink pair in your collection is not a move.
No, not at all, not at all, not at all. This, man, just being a sneakerhead, it's a job in itself sometimes because people don't understand the whole mindset that we have when we see certain things and certain things drop and OGs come out for certain things. I mean, even with Adidas brand and OGs come out and you got certain brands come out, so you kind of want that advice.
Yeah.
Through it all. So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
You need a speaker.
And tell you can get a few images of us talking as well from the big camera because we're getting ready to wrap up because I know they finna get ready to start blowing the horn over here in just a minute.
It's about to be don't stop believing and all the things left and right. This place is about to be turned in a way that I was not expecting a coffee house to be.
Me neither because I think this how the sneaks place was. I don't even know if they open because they have phone number and everything. It's not even much working.
Yeah, sneaks. I remember my wife had brought it up. She had seen it on Instagram at one point. She's like, "Oh, this would be a cool place to go," and we've never been. So if it's already closed, we missed out.
I think they're doing a grand reopening or something like that.
Okay.
So they probably shut it down and they're getting ready to redo it or rehash it.
Do a new thing, yeah.
So that's one thing, but I'm not cutting out the karaoke part. So
that's awesome. I love that. I love that idea.
But man, we appreciate you. Advice and words to live by is something that we all need. Because people don't really get much advice. People are often told to go, and not sit back and think about decisions or choices that they've made.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why, when you sent me a message and you was like, bro, like I'd be happy to talk to you. I was like, yes, okay, cool. Somebody that with some common sense, somebody that I, pay attention to, and I know that on your social media pages, you're always educating and teaching people to do the right thing. And that's what stuck out to me. And just to, see that, to be able to put that into play, made me like realize like what we're doing is the right thing as far as positivity, but also showing people that there's other ways to do things. Educator wise, sneaker wise, and just foundationally. People don't really understand a lot of things. They're used to things coming to them fast. Hence, you have TikTok reels and everything else that kind of like moves fast. They want to get in and get out, but sometimes you got to sit back and think about decisions that you've made or decisions that you're getting ready to make. And you guys are a prime example of taking 5 years to work on something that ultimately changes your future and your trajectory. And people like, you know, like they start something and they like, I want it to happen next month or next week or in the next hour. Sometimes it takes time to make the right decision. And you guys are seeing that because things are moving in that direction when you guys move to Spain. Everything is progressing how it needs to. So it's destined for you guys to go. So I can't wait to see footage when you actually put stuff on online, you know, and we're gonna definitely work on something with that. As time permits us to do that.
Of course.
So I'm praying for you guys every move, every step. And man, text me. Let me know, like, hey, you know, hey Dre, like we got this going on and that going on. I mean, anything that we can do from this angle to help you in your process and your progress, bro, just let us know. Like, you got my number, you know. I mean, I consider you a brother, especially when it comes down to education. You know, it's hard to find people like you that are able to instill the knowledge and the faith into people to do the right thing.
I appreciate that.
So it's hard to find. Any last words that you got to, you know, that you would, you know, give to people, or any like parting words that you would give to people?
I like how you said to do the right thing. You said that a few different ways and a few different times, and I'm gonna double down on it. It is a cliche, but I think when you do the right thing, when you live by the golden rule, and you keep, you know, morality and faith at the forefront, then you're doing the right thing, and people need to do that more. So I would say, especially for people who are, you know, in day-to-day interactions, you talked about like the TikTokification. We are in society today, I think, really prone to quick knee-jerk reactions. Where I have found the most growth has been taking a step back and realizing, how should I respond if I'm a Christian? How should I respond to this if I'm somebody that wants to leave this interaction right? And that has been both in the classroom, but also in personal life. So again, it comes down to do the right thing, but take a second, sit in it, like you said. Sit in it and think before acting would be my big one. Perfect.
Brilliant, brother. Masterclass as always. For people that don't know you or don't know any information or have questions, or, you know, any like tips or just anything, how will people be able to reach you socially and online? Because I mean, we follow you, but there's a lot of people in the world that need to.
For sure, I appreciate that. You guys can find me on all social media platforms at It's Jalidor, ITSJALIDOR. And weekly, we put up a podcast episode on lesson plans to laces. You can check out that Instagram. It's also on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube. But that's where we're trying to drop some little knowledge here and there. And that's going to be where I'm living through in Spain, is the It's Jalidor channels, and still potting as we go.
And the podcast is Lessons Plans to Laces.
Yes, sir. Lesson Plans to Laces.
Y'all go follow Lessons Plans to Laces on all platforms, man. If you have Spotify, you want to listen to something throughout your day, especially in the morning, go listen. You know, you still have a society now where people are looking at their phones as they're driving. Texas, you can't really do that as much because you'll crash in Texas. But Spotify is always there to help. Guide you through the process. So, man, tune into Lessons Plans to Laces. Make sure you follow, man, my brother Jay. Make sure you follow him on all platforms. Make sure you pay attention to what he's doing, especially when he moves to Spain. He has a lot more things to show you guys, and we just love him, man. And man, stay tuned, because when he gets, ingratiated in, maybe even before that, we're gonna actually work on a collab as far as working with the Narrative brand and trying to get some of his content on our pages as well. And also maybe work on a fit, some color schemes, and get some things going.
I'm here for it.
So, man, that's all I have.
Dre, I appreciate it, dude. Thank you. Always, man.
I love you, bro. Hey, and this is Dre, man. This is the Soul Narrative. These are narrative moments. Today, when we had James, man, and stay tuned. Our next one, we release every Monday at 8 a.m. This one may release sooner than all the rest of them, man. But this is the Soul Narrative, bro. So we're happy to tell you a story. Narrative. Every story matters, and every story is another story for somebody else. So that's what we do at Soul Narrative, man. And stay tuned to the next one, man. We appreciate y'all.
That's right. Good, man. Loved it. Yes.
Yes, I guess.